A quick note before we get into the episode. Oversharing is a podcast for entertainment purposes only. It is not a medical podcast and does not constitute medical or psychological advice. Always seek the advice of your physician or mental health professional. Hello and welcome back to Oversharing. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Dr. Naomi Bernstein.
How was your Halloween? Now it's a couple weeks past it, so, you know.
Yeah, it is true. But as we're recording this, it was just this past weekend. So it's like a new phase. It's weird being a mom of older kids. Like the two older girls were not with us. They were doing their own thing.
Wow.
So yeah, we're there. It's funny because I think a lot of people with kids will, or maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I do think a lot of people will kind of picture when they're older or think about when they get older and how that's going to be. And like, it's kind of here, or at least in this Halloween moment, it felt like it was here. Like,
because the girls are like 12 and 13.
Yeah, they're 12 and 13. Yeah. They went to like their friends' houses and their friends' neighborhoods, and we weren't walking around. Like it was actually funny. Jeff got like this whole Three Amigos like Halloween costume, and he ordered it online, and then it came, and he was like, "This is like elaborate." He's like, "This is intense. Like I don't think I can wear this, especially when it's like just us." And like Brooks was there and he was with his one little friend, but it just felt like, I think we're going a little hard when we're kind of,
it's over,
should be like tailing off a little bit.
Okay.
So
that's
the costumes, the costumes stayed in the box. And I mean, he's still dressed up a little, but it's almost like that, you know, how hard do you go? And kind of moving to this new stage of life of like, we should maybe, you know, we still do have one little one. So like we have it.
Right.
Like we're doing it.
He's prime age. Yeah.
Yeah. He's 7. So he's into it. Wore this blow up costume, like that looks like an alien's abducting an astronaut, and him and his best friend wore the identical costume. So they're like bobbling around the neighborhood with their like alien heads.
It's still fun.
It was really fun. It was great. And we still have, but it was just this weird, like we didn't get a family photo because they were all rushing to like get dressed and go to their friends' houses. And I think that moment of this isn't the same as it always was.
Right. Well, you're not like the primary person that they care about hanging out with for these kinds of things anymore.
Yeah.
Which I could see being kind of sad.
There are,
but kind of nice too, right? You get to do your own thing.
Yeah. So I was trying to kind of be like, hey, we can have a conversation. Like there's almost like this hectic energy that when you're in it, it's like fun, but it's a little crazy. Like I'm sure some of our listeners are in that stage where they have one kid that's like running one direction, and, you know, it's Halloween can be a little chaotic. And so when you're in it, it's fun, but it's also a little nerve wracking. And it was not that. It was like really chill. And I'm like, we can have a conversation, we can chat, like we can kind of hang out. And it was a Friday night. I'm like, this is something fun to do on a Friday night. But there was a little bit of sadness there of like our, you know, family unit was split up, but I get it. It's great. They have friends. They had a blast.
Well, can I ask you, if this ever, you know, as your kids become preteens, is there like a thought of like, what will I do when they're gone? Like when they're out of like when it's just me and Jeff, like what'll life be like? Do I have to get a new hobby? Like, do I have to?
Well, I don't usually think that, like, I think about when they're like teenagers more, and, you know, or I guess I do think sometimes, like even, you know, Lila last night was like, I forget, we were talking about daylight savings time and the time moving and how it's going to be winter. And then I was, you know, talking to myself, I'm like, and spring will be back before we know it. And she's like, and then I'm going to go to high school. And she was like, so excited. Like she wants to be done with middle school and go to high school so badly. And I did have that thought of like, oh my gosh. And then it's just 4 years and like, you're going to be out of here.
Yeah.
So I do think about that. I guess I think about missing them. I don't often think about like, what am I going to do with myself? Like I'm never bored. Like I never feel bored.
That's good.
So I think that part of it's going to be nice to be able to have time to do all the things that I want to do, or like be bored, or, I don't know, just so many things that I don't have time to do.
Right.
So
I mean, you've got 10 years too till Brooks is out. So.
Yeah, I know. I do have a lot of time. But I do think there is more than that. There's this aspect of by the time they're like 13, 14, they're spending a lot of time with your friends. You can basically do most of what you want to do aside from like having to carpool or whatever, or drive them places. So yeah, there's like this existential thing of your identity. I think there's like an identity as a mom of young kids. And then there's a different identity as a mom of older kids, right? Because doesn't require the same intensity.
Right.
And it's almost this weird thing of like, I'm shifting more so even than like they're going to be gone, but just my identity shifts around. I'm not this like crazed mom of young kids with like a baby on my boob and then one that's climbing the counters. And that's like a whole,
right. That seems all consuming.
Right. And now there is this other thing of like straddling the line between like, this doesn't feel all consuming. I mean, mentally, sometimes it feels all consuming because of like schedules and classes and homework and, projects and,
right.
But the actual hands-on of it doesn't feel all consuming. So it is this adjustment within a pretty short couple years period of time where you are kind of changing your identity around what it means to be a parent, which is interesting.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So we're like starting to tiptoe in that direction. But then like last night I have, a 60-pound 7-year-old like on me all night long. He came in at like 3:30 in the morning. He had a bad dream. So I still do have,
right. You've got time to miss it.
Yeah.
Like I could do without this. Yeah.
Right. But in those moments, like I think I'm more appreciative. I think sometimes that's why with the third one, they're like a little babied because
right.
You're like appreciating. It's like your last XYZ.
Yeah. That's funny. That's great. I was in, did not really do Halloween besides for on some podcasts before, but I was in Aruba for Halloween where Halloween's not really like a thing at all. So it was like, it didn't exist, but there were like there was like no families there. Cause I guess like no kids would be like, let's get out of here for Halloween.
Maybe a good time to travel if you're looking for a deal.
Yeah, totally. Although it was a good deal.
The Caribbean in October, I think is a little,
Aruba's outside the hurricane belt. So
good to know.
That's kind of why we picked it. Yeah, it was interesting to have like very few kids around any of these like hotels and stuff. But it did bring me back to, that was like our family vacation spot when we were kids.
Yep.
So I kept, having all these memories of like it's funny. I feel like when I think of like positive childhood memories, they're mostly from vacations, which is like kind of, I don't know if that's most people or just us in like the chaos of like what our family was like. But if someone was like conjure a happy childhood memory, I feel like most of it comes back. And it sucks because like, I don't want to be like, oh, you have to take your kids on to the Caribbean or like on a nice vacation for them to remember anything. But for me personally, when I think of like moments of like joy and fun and togetherness, you kind of do think of, and maybe again, that might just be like due to our personal family's chaotic nature.
No, I do. I think in general, it is a time when everyone's kind of like forced to be in the same place. Like we had a big age range spanning, like between everybody, it was like 17, 18 years age difference. So everyone kind of being in the same place at the same time.
Doing the same thing. Yeah.
Doing the same thing. Like you're all, and that's what connection and like intimacy is. I talk to couples all the time. It's like you can be in the same space, but when you're doing the same thing, paying attention to the same thing at the same time, that's where you form like these closer connections where you're like, okay, now we're going to go swimming in the ocean. Now we're going to, like everyone's eating all their meals at the same time together, which I think when you have a big family with a bunch of different ages, like you're not even really sitting down to eat all at the same time that
Right.
often.
You're kind of more in like a survival mode than like in a bonding. Yeah.
And you're also like in paradise in someplace beautiful and everyone's in a good mood and nobody's like working. I think it helps when the parents aren't, working and stressing and managing schedules and all that. So yeah, I think it's I'd say it's pretty normal to feel that, kind of positive memory from vacations. Although I do think some families have like stressful vacations where like somebody's anxious because they're out of their element.
Sure. Yeah. I don't think we had that. But yeah, I think it's funny because like I was telling Mike about like all the, and me and like Becky like would get our hair braided and we go to the like arcade and then we'd go on a banana. And I was just kind of like, I don't feel like I talk about anything else is like, it was
positive.
Like, and then we were screaming at each other and we ran after each other with a knife. Like that's usually how my like childhood, like, you know what I mean? There's like some sort of like weird dysfunctional thing, but I'm like, no, these were like such like fun time. And then we'd go to like Subway.
Oh my God. I was just thinking the Subway with the tuna, pickles. Yeah, good times.
Right. Yeah. Cause that was like, cause we were a huge family and like, we were not doing like nice, elaborate, like sit down meals. We were doing like we're going to Subway and we're getting like
17 tuna sandwiches.
Hence our love of tuna. But yeah, it was
that's
just
where it all started. But yeah, it must have been like nice. It must have been nice for Mike to hear you maybe sharing some positive. Like I do think sometimes it can be an overload of like complaining or negativity about. It's nice to sometimes step into that headspace of nostalgia. That's really nice. I'm glad you had that experience.
Yeah, we had some fun. I feel like our grandparents were always there. It was like literally our whole.
Yeah,
it was like
that was
10
really,
people in our family. Yeah.
Really nice. It was like, it felt like the McAllisters, like traveling with like three vans and like taking up an entire waiting area of the airport.
Totally. So that was,
good
it's nice.
Good times.
Good memories.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, it made me think about like future family and like how you want to like create those things. And again, I don't think you need to go away on like a,
Caribbean
vacation to do that. But, I agree. I think the formula is like everyone doing the same thing together. And that could be, I mean, you do this all the time. You go to like Six Flags for the day or like you do a outing where everyone's involved. Yeah.
Yeah. I do think it is nice to get out of the routine, the everyday. I think the schedule being like having these external pulling factors is what takes away from that. Bonding experience.
And even with Mike, it was nice because we live in the same house. We don't even have kids yet, but it doesn't feel like the same level of connection when you're kind of like passing each other in the wind between all your like the shit that you're doing.
Right.
And no one's stressed about work or deadlines or whatever. So I think that's really the ingredient is like taking time off and just like doing the same thing and focusing on the people you're with.
Yeah. There is something to be said about leaving the house because if you're that's why I say about date nights too. Like, could you technically do like a date night in, or could you technically just have a staycation? Yes. But I think then you're going to look around your house and like clean up the dishes and do some laundry and, whatever household stuff you're going to do that then is just something external that's pulling you away from your bonding time. So anything I think you can do to get out of the routine, I think is really nice. So I'm glad that you had that and that you thought of us. Those were really nice memories.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into our show. Good stuff. And if you guys want to leave us a voicemail or email us, the voicemail number is 646-363-6294, or you can email us at oversharing@betches.com. If you want to subscribe, there's 2 bonus episodes out every month. You get all the episodes ad-free and a day early, or you can join one of Dr. Naomi's therapy groups. How do they do that?
Yes, you can find me at naomibernstein.com. You'll find out all the information, what the groups are about, and then just send us a form and we'll match you up with a group that works for you. There's definitely openings. Love having new group members. Everyone's so welcoming and warm. So if you're looking for a little community or you're lost or looking for just some support in whatever you're going through, mindfulness based. We do meditations every single session. Yeah, come hit us up, naomibernstein.com.
Love it. Check it out. All right, let's get into our show. I'll read our first overshare. Dear Jordana and Dr. Naomi, first of all, I wanted to say a huge congratulations to Jordana and Mike on their baby girls. I've been following your journey since the beginning, and it brought happy tears to my eyes when you announced your pregnancy and your surrogate's pregnancy. These little girls are so lucky to have you as their mom. What a nice note. I get so many nice notes like this. And again, I just want to say I appreciate all the amazing well wishes and kindness from everyone. Okay. I'm writing in for an overshare, looking for advice on how to handle my relationship with my daughter's babysitter. For a little fun backstory, my husband and I actually met on Ship. That was the Betchicist dating app. So funny.
That is
back
incredible.
in 2019. Yeah.
That's so cool.
It was amazing. Yeah. We did. App was short-lived, but I've seen a bunch of marriages from it. I mean, I'm sure I've heard about every single marriage from it because they're like probably 10 and they're all like where we met on this app that doesn't exist anymore. But that's great that who knows what your life would be if this app didn't exist. Look at that. So my husband and I actually met on Ship back in 2019. To say I'm a Betchicist fan is an understatement when I basically owe my entire adult life to your company. Now, 6 years later, we're happily married, have a 1-year-old daughter and a second little girl on the way. When my daughter was 5 months old, I used care.com to find occasional babysitters for my daughter. I have the privilege to work from home, so I really only needed someone to come into our home on an as-needed basis when I have important virtual meetings. But now, as she's grown and has become more active and takes less naps, I found that I need sitters much more frequently, or we need to explore traditional daycare facility. One of the sitters in my rotation, I have 3 total, is a young single mom. Her daughter is around my daughter's age, so she's honestly really great at providing age-appropriate play and caretaking. However, every time she comes over to babysit, she constantly brings brand new stuff. At first, it was smaller items, pacifiers, a blanket, an outfit, a small toy. I thought it was nice that she cared about my daughter and thought maybe they're new items she was gifted and just doesn't need for her own daughter. But over time, the presents got larger and larger. For example, she gifted me new Louis Vuitton sunglasses for my birthday, is constantly trying to send me for prepaid pampering like massages and nails. And the gifts for my daughter keep coming, but now we're talking $100 plus baby items. It's gotten to the point where it's very awkward. Of course, I want to be kind and accept the generous gifts, but to be completely honest, I need a transactional relationship where I pay you to do a job and you watch my daughter. She's basically gifting items back to us that are worth more than what I'm paying her, leading to the awkward feelings. It's almost like she feels compelled to gift presents for attention or to boost her own self-esteem. Since she's a young single mom who is 10 plus years younger than I truly think she's doing this as a mechanism to befriend me. But what I really need is a hired babysitter. I feel like a real asshole saying that out loud. I've tried to tell her to save her hard-earned money, my money, in order to afford to move out of her parents' house, but it isn't clicking. The gifts keep coming, and now she prepaid for a photographer to take my daughter's holiday photos, which I need to decline because obviously we will take pictures as a family with my husband in the photo. Things that I don't think she considers, and I feel like an asshole waving my seemingly picture-perfect family back into her face when I decline her generosity. What would you do in this situation? I find if I sit on her text to brainstorm a reply, she will double, triple, quadruple text me, always leading to a final text that says, I ordered XYZ for your daughter because I found it so cute. I'll bring it to you next time, in hopes that it'll capture my attention because she will get a reply back. When in reality, I'm working or being a wife and mom, and I'll reply when I have a moment to breathe. Interested to hear your thoughts, especially with your perspectives as a working mom and a working mom to be. Signed, I need a babysitter, not a BFF.
This is a lot.
Yeah, this seems like a little like the basis of like a stalking movie or something. Like that's how it starts.
Right. Yeah, this is hard. It sounds like she hasn't been able to be firm enough about it, which I get. It is really hard to kind of have to reject somebody when they're trying hard to be really what feels like kind.
Right, when they're only doing something nice, seemingly.
Right. But if she's gifting you something that is more than what she's making when she's babysitting, that can't feel good for you either. And I do think her instinct is right that she probably needs to put an end to the lavish gifts. Like if this was a company or a corporation, this, wouldn't really fly. There's like rules against this type of thing. So that exists for a reason, because you're like blurring the lines. Or, I mean, she's not asking for a raise while she's doing it. It doesn't sound like she's asking for anything. She's not asking to like sleep over or become a live-in.
Well, it sounds like the money isn't even really the enticing thing. It sounds like it's like the friendship that's the reason she wants this job.
Right.
Or, something seemingly like close to that, which is, I think, seems one-sided here.
Right. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's an assumption that she's looking for friendship. I don't know. She doesn't say, she's not asking her to like hang out for free outside of the babysitting situation.
So why would someone do this then?
It's a really good question. I mean, I guess maybe her assumption of like, she's trying to like level the playing field a little bit. Like, we're both moms, but like, I like a feeling of like, I don't want to be an employee. Like, I don't want to be under you as in you're my boss, I'm an employee. So maybe this feels like it's kind of leveling them.
We're giving you the money back, right?
Like our daughters are just having a play date and like, we're going to take the money out of it. I could see why she thinks that's what it is. But if that were the case, I would assume instead of gifts, she would be asking her to like hang out.
Right. But maybe she thinks they are hanging out when she's watching the daughter.
Right.
Or something.
Right.
It seems like she texts her a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Or that thing that I could see is really hard where she's like, do you think so-and-so would like this? And then she doesn't respond, trying to like create a little space. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and buy it. And then 10 minutes later, like, okay, got it. I'll bring it on Tuesday. It feels like very,
right.
Yeah. Intense.
To me, and I'm not always like you with like the honesty is the way I would go. Just being conflict avoidant. To me, it represents a little bit of a poor judgment on the babysitter's part. And the consistency would make me kind of feel like, all right, I don't know if this is worth continuing to like hire this person.
Right. Especially if she's one of 3 people in her rotation. Like that's the other thing. I could even see this happening if this is like her number one nanny person,
Yeah.
Maybe she wants to maybe she's looking for more hours. Maybe she's looking for more, but that doesn't make sense.
Why not just use the money she's buying for the gifts and not work for them?
Right. Totally. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. But she's one of 3 people in her rotation. So that idea is like, I'm not even like your daughter's number one caretaker. And the intensity of this is a lot. So yeah, I think she can just back off of when she like use the other 2 more.
We don't really need, we've decided to do more daycare situation, or my other nanny like is,
going to pick up more hours.
Yeah, whatever it is. If you didn't really want to address it. I mean, the holiday photographer thing, I feel like it's hard. I don't know. How do you say no to a gift?
Right. I think it has to be a broader conversation of like, kind of saying, hey, I really appreciate how much thought you give to my daughter, and you've given her all these really thoughtful gifts. But if I'm being honest, it's starting to make me feel uncomfortable that you're spending so much money on her when I want this to be, kind of more of a professional relationship. And I love that you love her. And if you want to buy her, like, and, even just being really honest in the beginning, like little things, like a little stuffed toy or something I could see, but these more expensive gifts make me feel uncomfortable. And it makes me feel like you're not getting enough out of this relationship financially. And that doesn't make me feel good, which I think is ultimately what's happening. Is she's like, why am I paying you? I want to pay you. Or it does sound like her fear is that this person's looking for a best friend.
Right.
Or that's the way that it's leaning.
Or the lines are just blurred.
Blurred.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think she could say,
she's like, I don't want to have to. And I think it's like, it does take mental energy to deal with the like, well, now do I owe you a gift? What, like, is it?
Well, yes, that's true. Like when Christmas time comes around or it's her birthday and she's like, I don't really feel like spending $500 on a pair of sunglasses or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. But now it's added another layer of like kind of stress to this relationship, which is supposed to just kind of like be a very straightforward situation of like, I give you money, you watch my daughter, and then you leave and we're like done.
Yep. Yeah. And these things can, when someone's coming in and taking care of your kid, those lines can easily get blurred. This seems, because the expensive gifts are involved, it seems very obvious. But sometimes that can happen in smaller ways where either you're asking them for a little too much, or they're wanting to be around too much, or there's lots of issues around how bonded kids are getting to their nannies or their caretakers that can feel uncomfortable. So it is can be a sticky type of situation. But in this one, I think either piece of advice, either one, just calling it out and saying, hey, I appreciate it. So nice that you're thinking of her and thinking of me, but I don't feel comfortable with it. And I, prefer for this to, be more of a professional relationship. Either that, or just start to back off of how often you're using her. If you have two other people that you can rely on.
Right. Because I'm sure she's great with her daughter, but I do think that like there would be a little bit of an extra element of like, are you a little mentally unstable? I don't want to say that buying gifts for someone else's kid makes you unstable, but like I would say spending this amount,
yes,
and quadruple texting someone to me would be like, again, I'm not a mom yet. It might indicate some level of like, do I fully trust your judgment?
Right. Yeah, I can see that. And look, I'm sure she's fine, but I don't think you need to get rid of her because she's going to do something to your daughter or like make a poor choice. But yeah, I think you could slowly kind of like lean out of this if your dander's up around it. And it is taking up space in your mind, which is precious.
Right. So much so that she's writing in here.
Yeah. And not necessary if you have two other people. So I don't think you have to fire her, but I maybe just like, wean off of how often you're using her. I'm sure she's going to react. So you can feel free to write back.
Yes.
When that happens, because if you stop calling her and asking her, I'm sure she's going to be like, hey, do you need me this week or whatever it is, which is why sometimes the honest, straightforward approach is the best, because then you don't have to be waiting for the...
Right. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. You got nothing really to lose by sending her next time she tries to like tell you she's buying something to say, this makes me uncomfortable and, I appreciate it, but like, I'm not really looking like it. It just doesn't make me feel good about the nature of our relationship.
Right. And we've had this with like mother-in-laws, with like in-laws where you want to buy the Hot Wheels truck or whatever for Christmas, and the in-laws are buying it, or they're buying something more than what you can afford. And you have to have this conversation, which is like, I appreciate the gesture, but it's making me uncomfortable.
Right.
Which I think is fair. It's not easy to say, but I don't think someone could ever come back and be like, she could say whatever she wants, but I think it's a reasonable ask to say, these large gifts are making me uncomfortable.
Right. As you would in any other professional corporate setting.
Right. These large gifts it's a normal feeling, like because it does kind of feel like nothing for nothing. Like what are you trying to get out of this?
And everyone is trying to get something. There's no one who's like completely unmotivated by just wanting you to have Louis Vuitton sunglasses or whatever.
Like, yeah. It's hard. This is a tough one. I could see why she's stuck around this, especially if she likes the care that she's giving her daughter. But yeah, I think you're well within your rights to say it's making you uncomfortable. Probably be good practice for you.
Yeah.
To be able to do this, because it might be something else at another point. It is very hard to reject someone who's being kind.
Right.
But sometimes that needs to be done because, like you said, there's like a little bit of something off in terms of their like perception and judgment and like social cues.
No such thing as a free lunch,
Yeah.
as they say in economics class. Anyway. Let's do a Betchicist.
Okay, I will read this. Hi, Jordana and Dr. Naomi. Thanks for all the great work you do, and huge congratulations to Jordana. I'll jump right in. Last summer, I started a new job. At the orientation, I met another girl around my age, and we hung out one time when we went to drinks with other people who were also new at work. Since we don't work in the same department, I rarely saw her in the office, and we didn't hang out outside of work. Last winter, we decided to get lunch around the holidays, marking the second time we ever hung out outside of work. Here, she handed me a note that asked me to be a bridesmaid at her upcoming wedding. I was shocked and said yes in the moment, largely because I simply did not know what to do. This was last winter. In the time between then and now, I've only hung out with her one additional time when she needed help with something around her house, and we don't see each other at work. The last time I had texted her was when I told her I couldn't make it to her out-of-town bachelorette party this summer until yesterday, when she texted me to ask if I'd purchased my bridesmaid's dress.
This is great. They met 3 times.
Yeah, this is...
Right? It's 3 times.
Her wedding is coming up in January, and I'm feeling very awkward about being a part of it, especially since we interact even less than we already did when she asked me last year. What do you guys think? Can I have a conversation with her about dropping out of the bridal party? What would that entail? Should I just go along with it? I can't imagine we will speak again if either of us moves jobs, so I feel awkward being in the wedding party photos. Can you see a way to only peripherally be involved in the wedding party? I'm at a loss. Thanks again.
This is very funny.
Yeah, this is a lot. It's, I actually hear this more than you would think.
No, really?
Maybe not to this extent where it's 3 times. This is a lot. But I do hear these situations where there are some women that I guess are kind of like grasping for bridesmaids.
Right. Yeah. To me, this woman, I don't necessarily think this woman thinks that they're really good friends. I think she needs bodies.
She needs bodies. Yes. I can't imagine that she thinks you're good friends. I think it's almost like you're an accessory at her wedding. Maybe her partner has like a big group of like 10 friends or something, and she just needs people to fill the space.
Yeah. It's like, I Love You, Man. Have you seen that movie?
No.
Paul Rudd. Well, Paul Rudd is like white. He's like getting married to Rashida Jones, and she has like this huge group of friends, and he feels embarrassed that he doesn't really have anyone to like be a groomsman. So he like sets out to like try to make friends, to, like fill out a wedding party.
Yes. Yes. Especially, it doesn't even sound like this woman is making effort. I could see if she was like trying to become your friend.
Right.
And is like manifesting that you guys are close friends and wants you in her bridal party. It does seem very like 2 of the 4 times that they've like spoken have been about this wedding.
Right.
Like the bachelorette party and now the wedding dress, and they hung out like 2 other times. So it seems pretty transactional. I feel bad. I almost like, it's hard. I've heard this before too, where a lot of people, when they meet their partner, they become that girl who doesn't attend to their friendships, loses friends, and then pops back up when it's time for a bridal party. I don't know if that's the situation, but it's a tough spot. And look, you can go and just realize what this is.
Right.
You're just an accessory, like the flowers on the table, and put the dress on, show up. You're just going to be one person in the thing to even out the sides and have a good time and enjoy it.
Yeah. I kind of agree. When she's like, I feel weird being in the photos, like that's on the bride.
Yeah.
She chose you. Like you're not keeping the pictures. You're not paying for the pictures.
Yes.
Like,
right.
Yeah. To me, it's more like, if you really don't want to go to the wedding, I would drop out. If you're going to go to the wedding anyway, like it would almost be, it's still kind of weird that she even invited her to the wedding, given that they're not like particularly close friends. So I could see like, I don't even really want to go to this wedding. I don't really know her or anyone else at this party.
Right.
But I think if she's like the kind of person who wouldn't mind going to a wedding where she doesn't really know anyone, then like just be the bridesmaid. Like who really cares? It's like one day. It's kind of a funny story. It's almost like worth it to go for the story of like, what are you doing this weekend? I'm actually a bridesmaid for a woman that I met from work that I met twice. And like, I'm not really sure why, but I'm conflict avoidant. So I just am the bridesmaid. And I would be like, I would love to hear that story from someone.
Right. Well, she does. I mean, the other side is she does have to buy the dress, which is kind of annoying. That's probably like a chunk of money there that she has to spend on this.
That would be a big factor for me. Like she said no to the bachelorette party, which I would have done too. Doesn't seem like the person cared. I would see like, how ugly is the dress? How much does it cost? If it's like kind of cute, I could wear it again. I kind of like, I think I'm like, if it was like a $500 dress that I'm never going to wear again, that would make me drop out. But I think if it's
and
like,
wedding gift then on top of that, right? So now she's got $500 dress plus a wedding gift for someone that she's like barely knows. That's probably why she's writing in now, because she just asked her about the dress. Like, did you get your dress? So now like, she's got to put her money where her mouth is for this wedding and this bridal party thing. So that might be the deciding factor. If you're like, I really don't want to spend on this dress. Like you said, I'm never going to wear it, or I don't, then I think you can, kind of say, what?
I would just be like, I'm really sorry. I actually don't really think I can make it to the wedding. Like something, I would lie. I know you don't like that. I would be like, my grandma just made her birthday party date and I can't miss it. Like I would make something up. I know, I know you frown upon that, but I would I don't think like, it's not even like there's any relationship to keep by being honest.
Or you could be honest about the cost of the dress. Like
if she wants to buy you the dress.
Right. Yeah. Like if it really is this issue of like, I don't know you, I don't want to spend money on this dress that I'm never going to wear again. Look, I agree with your advice. If she's likes a party, wants to go meet some new people, maybe you're single. You want to go to a wedding and meet some new people and you think it'll be fun. I wouldn't worry about the grand significance of being in the wedding photos. Like I have people in my wedding party that I don't speak to anymore. So that happens.
It's the bride's paying for the pictures.
That's her problem.
It's her thing, and she picked you. Yeah.
So if you want to party, you want to have fun, you like the dress, you'd wear it again, I'd say go for it.
Get a new Hinge profile pic. Whatever.
Right. Exactly. If you're not into going to parties where you don't know anyone and you don't feel like spending the money on the dress, I think you can honestly at this dress juncture say, hey, I really, it's not in my budget to spend this much money on a dress. Totally understand if it doesn't work out for me to be in the wedding party, but I just want to be honest about like how I don't want to do it begrudgingly. And it's really stressing me out to think about spending XYZ on this bridal party dress, which is what someone would say if they don't want to be friends. Like if a regular person that you were actually friends with said that might be friendship ending, right? It's kind of like pony up the $400. We're friends. Like we've been friends for 10 years.
Right.
But in this case, if it's friendship ending, there's not really a friendship there to begin with. So I think you could make it about the cost of the dress, which it maybe ultimately is.
Yeah. That could be her deciding factor. But if you don't mind any of that stuff, the dress is kind of cute. I think you could go. Yeah, I wouldn't feel guilty about going or being in it. It doesn't sound like the bride's expecting you to be her best friend. I wouldn't volunteer for any bridesmaid duties or help. I would just be there as a body to stand up there so the bride can feel like she has friends.
Right. And I think it's mostly like for the photos, probably, like she. Yeah.
Or maybe so that no one at the wedding thinks she doesn't have any friends, which is it's kind of sad. Yeah.
That is kind of sad. It's actually funny because I was looking for, maybe this could be a new service. I was looking for ways to volunteer with the kids. And they have this volunteer program that's basically, and this is like sad, but it is kind of similar, like kids that maybe are like in foster care or move around a lot, or they're not in the same school and able to like make consistent friends. So they want to throw them a birthday party and they want other kids to fill out the birthday party.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
it's like a community service thing where you can bring your kids to some other kid's birthday that they don't know, and they just like have fun and celebrate this kid's birthday as like a community service project.
That's
so
sweet.
If you're in need of bridesmaid, maybe you can sign up.
I think there is a service where you can hire a bridesmaid. I feel like I've seen that from when I hosted Betch's Brides. Like you can
really
be a bridesmaid
funny.
for hire.
Oh my gosh. I wonder what it would be, what the qualifications are. Like what would make the ideal bridesmaid for hire? Likes to dance.
Looks good in a lot of whatever weird colors and dresses you pick out. Photogenic. Has a good, down for a good time and helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Attractive, but not too attractive. You don't want them to be
exactly.
We're looking for someone in like the 5'6" range.
Yeah. Exactly. And then, and then if you go back to our last episode a couple of weeks ago, then you can definitely stipulate whose cleavage is showing at the church because you're paying them.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So yeah, maybe she should have done that instead of this. So yeah, this is an interesting one. I think if you're down for a party, go. If you're not, I'd blame it on your budget and back out.
It's funny. I can't imagine asking someone like with a straight face that I had only met 2 times before.
Yeah.
To be my bridesmaid and not like prefacing it with,
I know we're not that close.
Right. This might be weird but
yeah.
Ballsy.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, ballsy. Yeah. And people will do anything to make their wedding photos look nice.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, you need those likes.